Warning! The following video will have a ton of curse words and may contain tobacco use. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, welcome everybody. I am Jason Lino, and welcome to the JL Pod thing. Hope everyone's doing well. It is exactly 5 p.m. February 3rd, 2024. And yeah, let's get this thing rolling. I just got COVID again. Actually, I have COVID again, but it's trending down now. Still got a little bit of the symptoms. You know, still taking NyQuil and all that, but it's calming down now. It should be healthy by next week. There's a whole new variant going around apparently. Let's see. Let me look it up real quick. What is the new COVID? And I don't think I had it. Otherwise, you know, I would have been dead. But news on the new COVID in the US. So now this the highly contagious Omicron subvariant, according to Today, story by Caroline Key. The subvariant now accounts for over 85% of cases nationwide. JN1 is the direct offshoot of BA2.86, aka Perola. If you don't understand what I just said, me neither. So, or at least we're on the same page there. So it's an additional mutation that can evade immunity. So no matter how many boosters you've gotten, this thing will still find a way to bypass and could, you know, potentially be fatal. So continue to wash your hands, folks. You know, wash all the way to the wrist, alright? All the way to the wrist, not this dumb shit, because, you know, it could just be that extra 10 seconds that could mean life or death. Think about that. It's pretty deep. Alright. I live in the Bay Area, so right now we're preparing for a storm. Partly cloudy right now in the Bay. The rain should be starting soon. Around 55 to 60 degrees right about now. Kind of sucks, you know. You kind of want better weather, because like the Bay Area. I'm not a Niners fan, but the whole Bay Area is buzzing right now because of the Super Bowl. You know, the Niners made the Super Bowl. I'm a Packers fan, so it stings a little bit, but I didn't come into the season with high hopes, if you know what I'm saying. Honestly, my team kind of with Jordan Love, we kind of overachieved a little bit, so and I'm happy with that regards. But you know, we still lost. I get that, and you know, I live in the Bay, so I can't hate the Niners too much. You know, I tend to be a little bit supportive as well, just so I don't get stabbed by Karens, by the Niner Karens. Niner Karens are the scariest Karens in the league. So let's see here. What else we got? So there's some crazy stuff going on in the Middle East right now. Apparently, the U.S. and UK are both doing targeted airstrikes on Houthi. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that right. Uh, Houthi militants in Yemen who are backed by Iran, funded and backed by Iran. And these are fuck, I can't say that word right. Uh, retaliatory strikes on there was like a tanker vessel, a U.S. Tanker vessel that was targeted by these rebels, and the U.S. is now answering back in hopes to whatchamacallit, yeah, in efforts to destroy these dudes and stuff. Ah, there we go. I'm sorry, I'm just setting up my stuff. My first podcast, you know. All right. So, going back to the Middle East, I think, and let me look it up. I think the latest news that I heard of was the Israelis. They conducted a special operation on a Palestinian hospital, which allegedly housed Hamas militants, and it's crazy, man. Like you wouldn't you wouldn't believe that these these guys would go into all that effort to like just to prove their cause. Like they would use um allegedly they would use ambulances to transport ammunition and weapons across the battlefield, and they would dress up as doctors and stuff. And now both sides apparently how Israel infiltrated the hospitals. They dressed up as doctors, and once they got in, they were like, "Hey, surprise!" and killed. They killed a bunch of Hamas terrorists in there, and looks like 6 hours. The latest news 6 hours ago. Um, and this is by, I don't know. I'm looking at the New York Post. Okay. New York Post. Hamas demands Israel release terror mastermind behind mainly deadly attacks. Marwan. Oh, my bad. Behind many deadly attacks, Marwan Barghouti in exchange for hostages. Damn. And we like it's crazy because we don't know how many hostages are still alive, you know. So just being that fact, it's just a whole lot of insanity going on. Uh, it's on both sides. It's I not to say that Hamas is a side, but the ones that are suffering the most are the Palestinian people, and of course the Israelis who were pretty much blindsided by that attack. and still have many hostages. Still many international hostages that are yet to be determined. So, uh, you gotta feel for that. That sucks. You know. The war in the Ukraine is still raging on. Last new piece of news I heard was the Ukrainians sank a Russian destroyer off the coast of Crimea, and also just 2 hours ago on MSN, story by Reuters, Russia says 20 killed, 10 injured in Ukraine attack on bakery occupied east. What the fuck? So did Ukraine attack? I'm kind of the title is kind of confusing there. So Russia Emergency Ministry said its workers had retrieved the 20 bodies of people from the rubble following a Ukrainian attack on a building housing a bakery in the city of Lysychansk. Sorry if I mispronounced that. In the occupied eastern Ukrainian region of Luhansk on Saturday. Damn. Okay. Well, that damn, they're still going strong, man. It's been like over a year now. Lots of casualties on both sides. And from the looks of it, it might continue on. Um, and is progressively escalating further and further as months go by. So I'll continue to follow that and see where that goes. Because there's nuclear weapons on both sides. And when things go boom, everything goes boom. You know? Alright. Alright. Moving on to lighter news. um so going to sports news now. Colin Coward told by Caleb Williams' camp he doesn't want the Bears to draft him. Now, this is not coming from Caleb Williams' voice, but his camp's voice. You know, which is could be two possibly completely different things. Now, is Chicago really that bad? You know, I mean, granted, I don't think wherever you wound up, uh, you still get that, you know, collective bargaining agreement first round draft pick money, right? I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that's how it goes. Um, believe Caleb is originally from California, so I could see why he would want to stay in California. But yeah, that's pretty odd. You know, that's pretty odd. But him being touted the next Patrick Mahomes kind of would probably bring a little bit of you know, spoiledness to somebody. And how the many leagues are now, any professional league nowadays, like you see it in the television that the players have complete control over where they want to play and when they want to play, apparently. So, I mean, that alone, um, just by his camp releasing that statement and him not immediately going forward, sending up a message or, you know, speaking on camera saying what my camp thinks about is what they think about. At least I don't know. Here, let me Google it. Caleb Williams. So, um, all right, so CBS Sports. I'm reading this article from CBS Sports. Many believe Bears won't trade number one pick. So there's still a lot of questions whether they use that pick on Caleb or, but there is such a gap between Caleb and all the other quarterbacks in this draft that you can't really say, oh, there's there's a definitive number two guy or a guy that could possibly be picked ahead of Caleb. It's pretty much the Caleb Williams draft, pretty much. Now, what does that mean? It's not definitive. It's not a definitive statement by the Bears, meaning it's not for sure that they're gonna trade it. I think they're still mulling over Justin Fields in his future. But man, the devil is could be far better than the devil you don't know, in my opinion. And we've all seen Justin Fields. We've seen the product so far. I don't believe he's a finished product yet. But so far, I think he was probably better than a lot of the quarterbacks picked before him. And he shows promise. He has dynamic legs, and he's shown a little bit of groove with DJ Moore, and I think his passing game will only continue to improve as he gets older. And to be honest, watching Caleb Williams, I don't see it. I don't see what. And this is just being me being my personal opinions and just me being honest. I don't see what the hype is with this guy. The next Patrick Mahomes, I don't see him. He looks like, well, his game looks like it was modeled after Dak Prescott's game, and that's just, I could be wrong. I'm not a professional sports analyst, or I have never played professional sports, but that's just what watching him in USC looks like. It looks like a young Dak Prescott. And that's not a knock on Caleb. I think a Bears picking up a young Dak Prescott wouldn't be a bad thing either. But when you look at this team, when you look at this Bears team, drastically improved on defense last year, or this year. We're still in this year, my bad. by picking up Sweat. That was a great pickup. Washington just pretty much handed it to the Bears with just a bag of peanuts. So they could, I don't know. Me personally, I would stick with what I got. Justin Fields, you know, he he's still young, man. He's still a young guy, very young. I don't think he's even hit his stride yet. And you use this pick, flip it for a fortune, pretty much. A couple teams, just to name a few, the Commanders would probably give up half the roster for it. The Panthers would probably give up half the roster for it. So, and you use those additional assets to pick up weapons and additional resources and personnel on defense to help out not just Justin Fields, but the whole team. And I'll be honest. I'll be completely honest. I thought Eberflus was getting fired mid-season, and he gradually held on. He gradually held on. Even with all the Chase Claypool um, shenanigans and pretty much everything, um, that deserves a little bit of credit. And I'll give credit where credit is due. Yeah, I finally got my bachelor's in business. Um, and growing up, I don't think if you knew me growing up, you'd probably be like, "How in the fuck did this dumb wiener schnitzel get his diploma?" You know. But the only reason why I brought it up is just so that I could, inform you folks that if a person that took 6 years to graduate high school could get his diploma, so can you. You know, I did it online. I did the whole thing online. It was a pain in the balls, but I'm telling you, it's really it's really high school plus stuff. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a gap. It's a huge gap, harder than high school, in terms of you know assignments and the difficulty of assignments. I would just say it's a little bit of what in let's say 2K terms, it's more like all star rather than uh all Madden or something like that. It's just like a 1 degree higher, but it's if I like I said, if a dumbass like me can do it, so can you. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. It takes a lot of time and determination, but if you have something to do it for, other than yourself. For me, it was for my parents. I always wanted to um, not just prove to them that uh, I could graduate college, but I also wanted to do it for them to achieve their goals as well, as parents. So that they could say, "Hey, my kid graduated college. It took him 6 goddamn years to graduate high school, but this motherfucker got a degree still." And that's all that it's how you finish. It's how you finish. It's not how you start. It's not how you get to the middle. It's how you finish. And that's what will separate you at the very end, I think. Let's see here. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm still kind of sick, but not so sick that I wouldn't want to talk in front of a webcam for like an hour or so. All right. So, I've been playing Pal World, PAL World, Pal World. Everyone's been calling it the Pokemon knockoff, um, or Pokemon with guns. I'm sure you've seen it all over YouTube or social media. Um, if I were to like, it's more like of a mix. If you guys are familiar with Steam and the games in Steam, it's like a mix of Temtem and Rust. Temtem and Rust. Yeah, it's quite enjoyable. I really like playing that game. I streamed about 5 hours on it today. If you get a chance, check out my other channel called Beep Gaming Poo, BEEP Gaming Poo. I'll leave a link on the description. It's fun, man. It's fun. Give it a try. If you like survival games, if you like Pokemon, if you like, if you're kind of, and if you have that little bit of sadisticness within you, I think you'll enjoy it. Give it a try. I think it's like $30 on Steam. It's not bad. It's still in early access. It's still got bugs and shit, but it's fun, dude. It's fucking fun. Tax season is coming up. Actually, no. We're here, baby. This is tax season. Uh, man, California state tax is the most backwards fucking thing. It's ridiculous. Like I owe California a grand, a fucking grand. Do you believe that shit? For living here, and all I got was, you know, fucking broken windshields, assholes everywhere, homeless everywhere. I have to pay a grand for all of that. You know what it is though? Well, I can't even say the weather because it's been shitty. This whole last year's weather has been shitty. So I can't even say that anymore. Um, so yeah, if you're planning to move to California, um, expect a lot of BS with taxes. Expect a lot of homeless. Never leave your valuables in your car. Never wear fancy jewelry outside of your house unless you live that life. You know, unless you're about that life. I'm not about that life. I don't want to get shot. I prefer never to get shot. Um, Yeah, it's not. I want it. It's probably not fun to get shot, and I don't ever want to know. So yeah, no. California, man. Yeah. Let's see. What else we got on the news? Oh shit. We're starting to get light rain. About to be hit, it's about to hit heavier rain soon. Ugh. All right. I'm just looking for a new story. Let's see here. All right. Oh, mental health. I hate talking about it, but it's a real thing. You know, you could say that I'm strong enough to bottle it in forever. You could be a fucking barrel, and you still wouldn't be able to bottle up everything. You know, jobs should really start offering. Just recently, ever since throughout the pandemic, jobs have started giving out like free like mental health seminars, or like you know maybe even some jobs would offer free counseling, or free like uh, therapy sessions. And I go through. I was in the Navy, so I get as part of my benefit, I get free counseling sessions. And I'll tell you what, it it helps. It really fucking helps, man. It's it's really tough when you don't got no one to talk to. It's really tough when, especially with my profession, my sometimes the stuff I do is very solitary. I deal a lot with logistics. Um, it's either 100% non-solitary, like you're in a warehouse environment, or it's you're working from home. You barely you just message your team. You don't even interact with them. It's you go full 100, or you get zero. You know, it's nowhere in between. Or sometimes you get in between, but I've never been there. And I've experienced that. I've experienced that working from home side, and I'll tell you what, that's when mental health really, really, um, that's when it really shows up. You know, because all you have is your thoughts, and when you can't control your thoughts, or you haven't figured out what makes you tick. Sort of say, as the saying goes, what makes you tick. If you haven't figured out the entire you, and if not, that's okay, because we all grow and learn at different paces. But if you haven't completely figured that out, start looking at it. You don't really. A lot of the past generation, it was always it was never a thing. You know, mental health, it was just a sign of weakness back in the day. Um, until you know the world wars started happening, then PTSD was a thing, and then now we're figuring it out that a lot of these mental health illnesses stem from more humble roots, uh, such as growing up, in a terrible environment. That is a huge cause for mental health. Um, Shit, even growing up poor, that um, that is another factor. But I grew up. I didn't grow up rich, but I didn't grow up dirt poor either. Um, but I've experienced a lot of that. Like, oh shit, I can't get what that kid has because his parents make a lot of money and mine don't. You know, I've experienced a little bit of that, which helped me in a sense that it gave me more drive. Like, I want to be, I'm just as good as this fucking guy. Why does he get those shoes or whatever, Game Boy phone? Why does he get the nice phone? I work, I could run circles around him when it comes to working or whatever. Why is he in a higher position than me? Stuff like that. I've experienced that, but looking at it from outside of the box, and I've only recently learned how to do this. Looking at it not just from my perspective, but from multiple angles. There's not just one camera angle. There are multiple camera angles, And looking at it from multiple sides and weighing out the differences, the positives, the negatives, the pros, the cons. That's how I learned a lot about myself. I'm not saying I know everything about myself. I know most of everything, but as life goes on, another page turns to an infinite book filled with words that we'll never be able to predict. That's life. That's fucking life right there, man. The only constant is what we can control. And what we can control is how we behave, how we act, and what and how we do whatever we do. That's the only things we can control. We can't control the weather. We can't control what somebody else says about us. We could only control us. We can only control ourselves. And just like how there's no such thing as two winners, you can never always win. And when somebody like me, who's lost a lot, you could learn. You learn things. You learn a lot of things by losing. And not everyone has that ability. It's unfortunate. Just like how crime doesn't stop, it's because that cycle will never stop. The cycle of not wanting to know that cycle of ignorance, that cycle of uh that cycle of crime, pretty much. Because not everyone's gonna have a starter kit in life. Not everyone's gonna have the perfect ideal situation. And the funny thing is, the ones that do always end up worse somehow. You know, like the ones that look at Jackson Mahomes. All that motherfucker had to do was shut the fuck up. His brother is pretty much the greatest football player ever, in Patrick Mahomes, and he was gonna live a lavish lifestyle for as long as he breathes. But the one thing he needed to do is the one thing he couldn't do: is shut the fuck up and stay away from the spotlight. It's funny how that works, man. It's funny how that works. But they'll learn how to let go. If Jackson Mahomes, if you ever watch this, know that I do not hate you, but you have to agree that you've made some pretty horrid decisions in life. There was a way you could have went about it and made yourself in a better spotlight. But he's not dead. I think he might be going to jail. He's got several lawsuits against him for sexual assault and shit. But he's not dead. And the one thing that I've learned so far in my 31 years in this earth is that life is precious. Every day counts. Even though some days, like the other day, which I was sick as fuck, I needed to, I felt it within me to need to stream, or what I like to call leaving a holographic copy of myself on the internet, so for everyone to see forever. That way, I could achieve my immortality. And maybe one day someone could take all of my recordings, all my streams, and create a robot of me, and freak out my my future generations. If my sperm works, I don't know if it has. I may or may not have children in Asia somewhere, but that would be cool though. Imagine having like all your thoughts on the internet, and someone you can just download it into a robot, and boom, they made a copy, a cyborg of you. Elon Musk is doing that shit with the Hold on, let me look this up. I think this is very important. Elon Musk. I just googled Elon Musk. Elon Musk. What the fuck? Neuralink. So, what Neuralink is, for those who don't know, Neuralink is pretty much just this chip that Elon put in someone's brain. Pretty much a Bluetooth device in your head that can operate your phone or pretty much any adaptable electronic device, electronic device by just using your thoughts. So if I wanted to turn on my stream, I would just think about it and boom, my stream is on. Dude, could you imagine? Could you imagine? Imagine if in the future we figure out how to make like cybernetic shields and shit, and if someone tries to like, shoot us or like, rob us or mug us and shit, I don't know, beat the shit out of you, um we could just think, oh, danger, and then boom, 911 is called, shield pops up, and boom, you're safe. Could you imagine that shit? Damn. Then I mean, at that point, how can we not look at ourselves as like at least demigods, being able to do shit like that? That's insane. But then again, looking back 100 years from now, the shit we are doing to a person 100 years ago is insane. Could you imagine showing like Transformers to someone in like the 1900s, the early 1900s? They would lose their shit. They would think you're a fucking witch. They would probably burn you to the stake. So, what's 100 years from now? Could you imagine that shit? Space travel, possibly. Shit, I might even be immortal by then. That's wild. Now, if you could figure out how to download your consciousness into a machine, put me on that project, because I want to be a robot so bad. That would be insane. That would absolutely be insane. Now, obviously, the first to be using this technology would probably be the ones that are, um, those without limbs. Though, I was watching this one thing on YouTube. This guy was like doing a thumbs up with a robot arm, and he was pretty much, he didn't have no arms and no legs. I think he had legs, but he had a robot arm doing a thumbs up just by thinking about it. Now, if that were me, I would have done the bird. That would really show me like, oh, yeah, he meant to do that. That's real. But it's exciting stuff, man. It is exciting stuff. Um, and yeah, um, I kind of want to end it. I kind of want to end most of my. I probably want to end all my stuff with like some. I don't know. I want to end it in a good light. Um, so for the last segment, I don't think I even have any other segments, but for this last segment, excuse me, I kind of want to give some general advice. And my general advice is, uh uh listen, we only have one life. Um As far as we know. As far as we know, we only have one life. So, if you're not sure where your life is going, if you're just pretty much being complacent. Now, if you love being complacent, then why you listen to me? But if you're not doing what feels right for you in this short life of ours, I highly, highly encourage you to face your fears and go for it. Just go for it. Growing up, I hated being on camera. So you can imagine how fucked up this shit is for me. But if a dumbass like me could overcome his fears, graduate college, even after graduating after 6 years in high school, and pretty much I did not think it was possible for me to end up anywhere outside of the tiny island of Guam that I grew up in. You know, if an idiot like me could do it, so can you. You know, thanks for listening to the JL Pod thing. I want this to be a daily thing. If you could show me some love, hit me up with a like, a comment, even if subscribe. It would help me a lot. And it will help us grow. Appreciate y'all. Catch you next time.
Yo, like and subscribe, and I'll love you long time.
Beep.
Yo, like and subscribe, and I'll love you long time.